So, you want to design a garden, but it feels kind of overwhelming, right? Well, the secret isn't about knowing a bunch of complex landscaping tricks or fancy Latin plant names. Nope, it's way simpler than that. It actually starts by asking a few questions about you. In this explainer, we're going to break down exactly how to turn that blank space outside your window into your own perfect personal retreat.
You know that feeling when you're sitting in your garden, maybe with a cup of coffee, and you just wonder. You look at that patch of grass and think, what if I put a tree right there? Or what if that patio was just a little bigger? That daydreaming, that what-if moment, that is the real beginning of any great garden design.
See, right there, in those moments, you're doing it. You're starting to make that piece of land your own. You're imagining how to transform it from just, the yard into a space that really reflects who you are and what you want. And that, right there, is the heart and soul of garden design.
And this is the absolute key takeaway. The best gardens start with you, not with a shovel. The spaces that people love the most, the ones that are the most successful, they aren't just built on technical skill. They're built on a really clear vision of what you want that space to be.
So before you even think about which plans to buy or what kind of paving to lay down, you got to know that the best designs always begin with a simple, structured thought process. The secret sauce really is just asking yourself the right questions.
And here's the good news. There's a really simple but super powerful framework for this. It's all built around 4 key questions that are going to guide you from just a vague idea to a solid concrete plan. Think of it as your personal roadmap to building that perfect garden.
And here they are. It's that simple. First up, function. What do you actually want to do in your garden? Second is feeling. How do you want to feel when you're out there? Third is form. What's it all going to look like? And finally, the really practical one, follow through. How much work are you actually willing to do? Let's break each of these down.
All right, question 1. This is all about function. Is this going to be your outdoor dining room for entertaining friends? Or maybe it's a quiet little sanctuary where you can just read a book. Or, hey, maybe it needs to be a super robust play area for the kids and the dog. Be really honest about what you'll actually use the space for. That's your foundation.
So, knowing what you want to do in the garden kind of sets the stage. Now we can ask, how do you want to feel when you're doing it? This next question is all about the atmosphere, the mood. When you step outside, what kind of vibe are you going for?
And this is where it gets really cool, because just a few choices can create completely different moods. I mean, just look at this contrast. If you want to feel energized and buzzy, you're looking at things like vibrant colors and sharp lines. But if a relaxed, zen vibe is what you're after, you're thinking cool colors, simple shapes, maybe some delicate scents. The same piece of land can give you 2 totally different feelings.
And that brings us right to our third question. What will it look like? This is all about style. And as you can see from these 2 pictures, the possibilities are worlds apart. On one hand, you could have that traditional, overflowing, flower-filled cottage garden. On the other, maybe a chic, minimalist, modern space. Which one do you dream of? Your personal taste is everything here. And finally, question 4. This is the reality check. How much work do you actually want to do? A high-maintenance garden can be an incredible hobby, but yeah, it demands regular work. A low-maintenance design, on the other hand, gives you way more time to just kick back and enjoy the space. And look, there's no right or wrong answer here, only the one that honestly fits your life.
Okay, so you've gone through the 4 questions. You've got your answers. You have this vision brewing for the function, the feeling, the form, and the follow-through. So, what's next? How do you make this vision a reality?
This is the fun part. This is where we bridge that gap between all those great ideas in your head and a real, actual plan. It's time to get everything onto paper. And don't worry, you absolutely do not need to be an artist for this part. I promise. The absolute best way to start is with something called a bubble diagram. And it is way less intimidating than it sounds. You just sketch a rough outline of your garden and then draw circles, or bubbles, for each activity zone. A big bubble for the patio, a little one for a reading nook, another one for the kids' play area. The goal here isn't precision. It's about exploring how the spaces relate. Does the dining area need to be close to the kitchen door? Should you be able to see the play space from the house? It's basically a tool for thinking out loud on paper.
So once you've played around with your bubbles and you like how they're laid out, then you can start adding a little more structure, like you see in this example. Those bubbles start to become defined spaces, paths connect them, you start to see how the whole garden is going to flow together. This simple act of putting your ideas on paper is the crucial first step that turns your dream into something you can actually build. This is the moment it starts to feel real.
Okay,
As we start to wrap this up, let's just circle back to the single most important idea in all of this. The ultimate goal here isn't just to have a nice garden. It's to create your very own personal outdoor space.
You know, this quote really says it all. Good design should reflect the wishes, likes, and dislikes of the garden owner. At the end of the day, the best design for your garden is the one that reflects you. It's not about impressing the neighbors. It's about creating a space that genuinely feels like an extension of your home and your life.
So if there's one thing you take away from all this, it should be this. Garden design is not about following a rigid set of rules. It's a creative process. It's about designing a refuge that works for you and brings you joy. That's it.
So I want to leave you with one final thought to get you started on your own journey, like right now. Based on everything we just talked about, what's the very first question you're going to ask about your garden?